everybody. Sonia Rollins filling in for Phil Gallagher for BNEWS Weekly. Thank you for joining me. Joining me with the crew is BNews Director Rich Hosford, BNews reporters Robert Paris and John Viaz, Peter Brown with weather, Jolie Atwood with community calendar, and Liz Gillespie with sports. Burlington Public Schools have announced 3 new cases of COVID-19 in school buildings since Friday afternoon. 2 of the cases were at Marshall Simons Middle School, 1 was in Fox Hill Elementary School. According to letters from Superintendent Eric Conti and Health Director Susan Luminello, in the cases of the middle school, 1 was in 7th grade class and the other in an 8th grade class. In the 7th grade case, they are moving the classroom with the positive case to remote learning for 2 weeks out of an abundance of caution. In the 8th grade case, they are moving both grade 8 red, cohorts A and B, to remote learning. At Fox Hill, they will also move the classroom to full remote for 2 weeks. If you have not been contacted by the Board of Health, your child is not considered a close contact. In related news, Burlington Public Schools won't likely go full in person unless changes are made to the guidance coming from the state. Superintendent Eric Conti said during the school committee meeting on Tuesday that the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education is advising school districts in gray, green, or yellow communities to have all students have full days in person if possible. However, Conti said that in Burlington there would have to be changes made to other guidance for that to happen. Most notably, he said that in the high school and Marshall Simons Middle School, the only way they could have all students in the building would be if the state guidance on social distancing was reduced from 6 feet to 3 feet. He said the state would also have to convince people that that was a safe standard. Here he is.
The governor has, I think last week or a week ago Friday, changed some of the state metrics that we were using in regards to recommending where schools are. And I think some of those recommendations are a little bit premature from my opinion and my perspective. I'm a strong proponent of local control. I like that we sort of have Burlington schools reflect Burlington values. I believe sort of that in that strongly. But in the case of the pandemic we're in, I appreciate that everyone wants students back in school full. I do as well. I want to go back to the full day experiences. Hybrid schedules by design are compromises, and they're compromises focusing on safety. And some of the limitations that we've been discussing here are a result of that design. But I don't think we're ready for a full return unless we have some significant support from the state or some significant changes at the state level. And it just seemed to me that at a time when we're seeing significant increases in COVID spread, it just seemed to me a challenging time to introduce new metrics that were prioritizing a full return to school.
Superintendent Conti also said they would have to change the guidance for transportation, which has significantly reduced the number of students allowed on school buses. The third requirement, Conti said, would be the state's involvement in collective bargaining with the unions to convince those workers remotely to return to the buildings. He said that he has spoken to the counterparts in surrounding communities and none of them are ready for a full return yet either. Finally, rather than having all students in the building for a full day, Conti said he fears the situation will go to the opposite direction. He pointed to rising cases across the nation and in Massachusetts and said if the trend continues, they will likely have to go full remote for at least some length of time. On Veterans Day, Burlington Police Officer Jake DeSantis, a U.S. Army veteran, and U.S. Army Second Lieutenant Joe Morgan, a Burlington native, marched 22 miles to raise funds for the Massachusetts Fallen Heroes Foundation. BNews Director Rich Hosford spoke to them about the trek and has this report.
Veterans Day, Burlington Police Officer and veteran Jake DeSantis and Burlington native and current Second Lieutenant Joe Morgan put on their boots, full gear, and rucksacks and other equipment weighing over 55 pounds and engaged in a 22-mile trek. DeSantis walks from the Tewksbury Police Department to the Burlington Police Department and finally to the Massachusetts Fallen Heroes Memorial in Boston. Morgan marched the same distance down in Georgia where he is stationed. The two were raising money to support the Massachusetts Fallen Heroes Foundation. I recently spoke to both men over Zoom and started by asking how they chose that organization.
They support the veteran community and they support veteran families who've lost a service member, and how they support Gold Star families and just the pure preservation of the memorial itself and everything like that. I just thought everything that it stood for was really just unbelievable. And I thought, you know what, if I can help that out, especially because it's right there in Boston, someplace that if I want to, I can get in the car or throw on a comfy pair of boots and walk to, then I can do that.
Actually really excited when I heard that Mass Fallen Heroes was the foundation we were going to be donating to. Jake primarily made that decision, but I knew how good of an organization it was and how much of a good cause it was. So I was super excited he chose that, and I couldn't have been more behind it.
They initially had a goal of raising $500, but right after the GoFundMe was posted, they quickly received a $100 donation and the word began to spread. In the end, they left the initial $500 goal far behind.
One thing led to another with the unbelievable support, love, and dedication of everyone who came across it. The donations just started to flood in, and it was just completely overwhelming. And the initial goal was $500, and as of right now, as we sit right now, we're at $13,545. It's unbelievable what everyone has done. I put it out on a couple posts. At the end of the day, me and Joe just walked. The real thing, the real big picture here is the amount of love, dedication, and just support that we had to raise the amount of money we had.
Originally, they had planned to march, or ruck, for 14.5 miles, but after receiving so many donations, decided to step it up to 22. The number 22 is also significant because that is the average of how many veterans take their own lives each day.
People just connected with it. I think it helped our message to resonate a lot because people understand the whole 22 veterans taking their own life a day is out of control, and something's got to be done. And it's really a message that everybody can get behind.
Just in general, that is just an astronomical number to think about. So we thought, you know what, 14.5, we can kick this back even further and make it 22, then it's, you know what, we're doing 22 for the 22, and every mile counted. It wasn't just a mile down, 1 mile closer. That's one veteran life that we're walking towards, and that's one veteran life that we have with us.
Finally, they both said that while they were marching, they could feel the support of the people passing by.
Every time I heard a beep, I was like, that's right there. That's what I'm walking for. I'm walking for that support. Someone saw me with the American flag and the flag with all the names on it, and they took the time to say, you know what, good for you. And to me, that beat meant more than anything. Someone waving to me meant absolutely more than anything. So regardless of how bad my feet hurt or my back or my shoulders, all I could think about was, you know what, let's get to that next beat. Let's get to that next wave. Let's get the next step. And it just kept me going.
Two separate people. We had a bunch of beeps and waves and stuff, obviously, walking on the road carrying flags, but two separate times people stopped, pulled over next to us. We're driving real slow, asking us questions where we were stationed. And they were veterans. One had just gotten out in January. The other one served in, I think he got out in the mid-90s. So it was a really cool experience. People were all about it. We were getting beeps and waves. And
from outside the Burlington Police Department, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hosford.
We thank them for their service. Thank you, gentlemen. The Burlington Board of Selectmen set the FY21 tax rate during its meeting on Monday evening, and Burlington residential homeowners will see an increase in their bill. The board held its annual tax classification hearing and set the residential and commercial property tax rates for the fiscal year. Burlington has a split tax rate, meaning that residents pay one amount and commercial, industrial, and personal property owners, effectively meaning businesses in town, pay another rate. When deciding on how to set the split between the residential and commercial tax rates, the board weighs its desire to keep the residential rate low so as not to burden the residents, but also does not want to raise the commercial rate so much that it would slow economic growth. This year, there was an added impact of the COVID-19 pandemic that has economically damaged both residents and businesses, prompting one member, Selectman Mike Runyon, to suggest the board take an unusual step of meeting some of the levy using funds from the stabilization account. Members of the town financial team said this would be difficult to do at this juncture and still ensure the town hits all the deadlines to set out tax bills in January. Town Administrator Paul Sagarino said the real economic impact of the pandemic will be felt by the town in FY22 and that they could have further talks about different ways to assist taxpayers between now and setting the next tax rate year. Apologize. Here he is.
We hear you loud and clear. I mean, the Board of Selectmen is always impressed upon the administration and the finance team that keeping modest tax increases was paramount here in town. It was part of what makes Burlington Burlington. And we do hear your message loud and clear. Everybody has to be aware, though, it is a larger discussion in terms of determining the spending level. And fortunately for us, we'll be getting back at it in a couple of weeks. We'll be sitting down again to try to develop budget guidelines for next year with the Ways and Means Committee, with the school committee, and with other elected boards and committees. And again, we'll have another opportunity at it. Like I say, I do appreciate all the thoughts and the suggestions made by the board. And just so everybody at home knows, the Board of Selectmen has made it very clear to us as the administration in terms of wanting to keep modest taxes here in Burlington.
In the end, the board went with the option that had commercial properties pay 62.33% of the tax levy and residents paying 37.66%. This, coupled with an increase in property values, means the average residential tax bill will increase by $254 in FY21, an increase of 4.49%. Burlington resident Judy Wasserman, who is diagnosed with kidney disease, is currently seeking a donor. BNews reporter John Villas went to speak to her about the process and has this report.
When struggling with a long-time medical condition that could shorten a person's life, it could be time to call for support, which is exactly what Burlington resident Judy Wasserman has done. Judy was diagnosed with kidney disease back in 1989, and while she has been able to slow down the progress of the disease over the years, she is now seeking a kidney transplant and is asking for a donor to come to her aid.
I actually was put on the transplant list 5 years ago, and nothing happened, and I wasn't really ready right away. And in the past year, I was actually on the inactive part of the list because my numbers were so good. But now as I said, they've dropped, and it's time for a kidney transplant. And they're going to do what's called a preemptive transplant, which means we're going to go forward with a transplant while I'm still relatively healthy, which will then have a better outcome for the transplant itself. My symptoms are very, very tired most of the time, and lack of appetite, and I'm cold most of the time. I get the chills even in the middle of hot summer. I'll have the chills.
I love her. We've been doing this a long time. As long as she stays in the path that she's doing, her tiredness is something it is a problem. She's in bed every night by between 8 and 9 o'clock. She's good for 3 or 4 hours in the morning, and then afternoon she spends a lot of time lying down and resting and getting weighted on hand and foot.
By whom?
Judy is a graduate from Northeastern University with a degree in journalism. She has been the editor of multiple newspapers, including the Burlington Times-Union. Not only has she worked in journalism, but has also made a mark in Boston Public Schools as well. She was the director of the then-new Community Learning Center at the former Hamilton School in Brighton. She has been a paraprofessional educator and has also worked at the Children's Hospital. There is nothing Judy finds more satisfying than working with kids.
I loved both jobs. It's weird, I love being in journalism, but I love being in the schools with the kids. I really do. I think it's one of the most rewarding things you can do. And so, working in Boston was a challenge. There were some children who were challenges, there's no question. But overall, there's nothing like getting a hug from a little kid.
In her years of retirement, Judy has been an active member of the Burlington community.
I've been a town meeting member for several years, for several terms, and I also was on the Burlington Historical Commission, and I was also on the Grandview Advisory Committee, and I was also on the executive board for the Friends of the Library.
If you or somebody you know is willing to donate a kidney or would like to spread the word of Judy's ongoing battle with kidney disease, here's where you can go.
There is a website that Brigham and Women's helped me establish. It's through the National Kidney Foundation also. nkr.org/PSD949. It explains a little bit of my story and then tells people how to learn more about donation and also if they're interested in registering us.
Only 14% of all transplants are live transplants. So it means it takes an awful lot of people to hear about it before you can find a possible donor, that's someone who has the ability and the health and everything else to want to donate a kidney.
From the home of Judy and Steve Wasserman, this is John Villas for BNEWS Weekly.
Okay, and good luck to Judy with that. The Burlington Board of Selectmen is one step closer to having a new name. Members of the board voted on Monday night to put up a series of warrant articles before the January town meeting to change the name from the Board of Selectmen to Select Board. The change was first discussed publicly at the board's last meeting when Town Administrator Paul Sagarino said they had been considering a new gender-neutral name for a while. There was some discussion of other names, such as Executive Board or Town Council, but some members said that they wanted to keep the historic Select Person as part of the name. In the end, it was voted unanimously to propose the name change to Select Board to Town Meeting. In order to make the change, Town Meeting would have to approve 3 separate articles, including zoning bylaw and general bylaw changes. Segarino said the town charter may also have to be changed through the state legislature. A federal grant will help those suffering from opioid addiction who have also gotten caught up in the legal system. The Middlesex Sheriff's Office has been awarded a $1.15 million federal grant to help support justice-involved individuals with opioid use disorder and their families. Middlesex Sheriff Peter J. Kajuchian announced during a virtual press conference. The Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Abuse Site-Based Program grant, that was a mouthful, was awarded to the Middlesex Sheriff's Office by the U.S. Department of Justice Bureau of Justice Assistance. The funding will be used to launch the Involving Families in Treatment of Inmates with Opioid Use Disorder project. Sheriff Katujian said the grant money will help his office expand their existing medication-assisted treatment and directed opioid recovery program by supporting efforts to directly engage families of incarcerated individuals with opioid use disorder. Since its launch in 2015, over 900 individuals have participated in the program. There are currently nearly 420 active participants, 340 of whom are receiving post-release care, while approximately 80 are presently receiving care at the Middlesex Jail and House of Correction. Burlington Fire Chief Mike Patterson and State Fire Marshal Peter Ostreski have some cooking tips for you for this Thanksgiving. Cooking is the leading cause of home fires and injuries. Massachusetts, the state where Thanksgiving began, is sending out 2 main safety messages to prevent home fires. Stand by your pan to prevent cooking fires and put a lid on it to put grease fires out safely. According to the Massachusetts Fire Incident Reporting System, there were nearly 10,000 residential fires in Massachusetts involving cooking in 2019, which resulted in 3 civilian deaths, 49 civilian injuries, 20 firefighter injuries, and an estimated $6.7 million in property damage. Cooking is also the leading cause of injuries to adults over the age of 65. Here are some important safety tips while cooking. Stand by your pan when cooking. Never leave food, grease, or oils cooking on the stovetop unattended. Put a lid on it. In the case of a pan fire, slide the lid on it to smother the pan and then turn off the heat. Do not move the pan until it has cooled off. Water or fire extinguishers will not work. They will only spread the fire. Never move a burning pan. You can be badly burned or spread the fire. Wear short or tight-fitting sleeves when cooking because loose-fitting clothing can easily catch on fire. If your clothing does catch fire, stop, drop, cover, and roll to put out the flames. The fall sports season is drawing to a close, but the Red Devil teams are still battling hard. For all the latest news, we go to BNEWS sports reporter Liz Gillespie for this week's sports report.
Hey everyone, I'm Liz Gillespie, and this is your weekly sports report. Last week was a busy weekend as the Burlington High School fall sports season started to come to a close. We have the scoop, so let's get to it. Boys soccer headed to Landrigan Field on Saturday, November 14th to take on the Wakefield Warriors. The Red Devils lost by a close score of 1-0. The team drops to 2-5-1 on the season and will play their final game of the season against Wakefield at the Marshall Simons Middle School Brush Field on Saturday, November 21st. This game will be live streamed on the BCAT Facebook page at 9 a.m. Lady Devils soccer had a home meet against the Warriors on Saturday, November 14th at Marshall Simons Middle School Brush Field. Burlington lost 3-1 in the defeat against Wakefield. They dropped to 0-7-2 on the season, and they will play their final game of the season on November 21st in Wakefield. Lady Devils field hockey hosted the Warriors on Saturday, November 14th at BHS Varsity Field. No one scored in any of the 4 quarters of the game, and the girls add a tie to the column at 2-6-1. Boys cross country traveled to Wakefield on Saturday, November 14th to face the Warriors for their final meet of the season. The Warriors put up an upset against the Red Devils, giving them their first loss of the season. Burlington lost to Wakefield by a score of 23-36. The boys finished the 2020 fall season at 4-1. 4 seniors who will be departing are Richard Cromwell, James Johnson, Kevin Carnes, and Jonathan Walensky. These seniors combined will graduate with a 16-4 record in the Middlesex Freedom Division and are 19-5 overall. Congrats to these seniors on their endeavors. Lady Devils Cross Country lost their final meet of the season against Wakefield on Saturday, November 14th at the BHS varsity field. The girls lost 46-16 and ended the season with a 1-4 record. Seniors who will be departing are Colleen McMakin, Allie Illage, and Allie Irwin. Good luck to these seniors with their endeavors. Last week, a couple of BHS seniors received a couple of National Letter of Intent signings. BNews sports reporter Robert Paris caught up with the athletes and their coaches. Let's check that out.
2 Burlington High School seniors have made their decision on what college they will be going to in the fall of 2021. These ladies have been making an impact on the athletic side of things during their 4 years at BHS. Sydney Shrinopoulos and Marina Callahan. Shrinopoulos will be attending Merrimack University for women's college softball.
It was definitely an exciting day. A lot of emotions built up to that day. It's been a long time coming, and it was really exciting just to complete the process that I've been trying to complete for the past however many years it's been. And it's been something I really wanted for a long time.
As for Callahan, she will be attending Assumption College on a full scholarship for women's basketball.
So I came here to sign, and it was fun. I don't know, COVID, my family and I got to take our masks off. We got to take them off for the pictures. It didn't feel too COVID restricted. It happened how I imagined it in my head. I was super excited. It made it official. I mean, I personally felt like I should have been there already. When they offered me, I felt like I should have been going into the school year this year. So it just made it official, and it just made me super excited.
Coach Rick Sheehan, Kristen Farrell, and Pam McKay are very proud of Sydney and Marina and are looking forward to seeing what both the athletes can do in their final year at BHS.
Well, I'd have to say I think Sydney's a good leader, period. I think she's a leader in the school community. She's also a leader on the athletic field, which I think is why you've seen her go off to play some college softball. But I know she's a member of she's on an athletic leadership committee that works with the MIAA, and she represents Burlington High School. But as far as an athlete goes, I would have to say she's probably one of the more competitive athletes I've coached in a very long time.
She's just like that type of kid who's a great leader, even at such a young age. She started on our team as a freshman, and she made an impact right away. She's just super strong defensively, and I see her doing big things at the plate as well.
Yeah, she called me over the summer to let me know that Assumption had offered her a full scholarship, and there were still some things that she really wanted to work through. And she made her decision at the end of June. So we're really excited for her, and that's a huge accomplishment and a great honor.
While both girls are excited for their futures, they will reflect on the good times they had with their coaches and teammates.
We're looking forward to, building off of what we had last year. It was great a year last year, and I'm really hoping that, the team will be able to continue to succeed and we'll be able to have a great season again.
I mean, honestly, I'm just hoping we have a season at this point. I mean, if we do have a season, I hope that we have a productive and a good season, how we expect it if it was a normal one. So that's really all I can hope for at this point.
From Burlington High School, I'm Robert Paris for BNews Sports.
Check out our new Twitter page at BNews Sports, and for more Red Devil action, go to the BNews Sports Hub section at bcattv.org. And that's all for your weekly sports report. I'm Liz Gillespie. Back to you guys in the studio.
Great, thank you, Liz. We go now to Council on Aging Director Marge McDonald for the latest senior news. Let's check it out.
Hello. I hope you are staying safe and healthy out there. I know as the nice weather came in and the number of COVID cases went down, we all got back outside, even though many were still under a stay-at-home advisory. Now, as the weather gets colder and numbers are skyrocketing, many of us will go back to staying at home as much as possible. So once again, please check on your neighbors. If you're running to the store, just see if they need anything from wherever you're going. The Council on Aging will remain available for assistance no matter how bad the surge becomes. Do not try to go it alone if you need help. As of right now, we are physically open by appointment only, although we will try to do as much as we can over the phone. We can help with food through SNAP, fuel assistance, health insurance, housing issues, or pretty much anything you might be having trouble with, including grocery shopping. Shine Counseling for Medicare open enrollment continues until mid-December. We are also offering a lot of online activities during the winter months to keep you all as social as possible. Please know that you can also join most activities except bingo and fitness classes via the phone. Just give us a call for the phone number for the activity you want to join. All activities are available virtually. Many of you were not able to get a place for our grab and go in November with Sammy's Big Bird box lunches because your newsletter was late. If you have email, send us an email at coa@burlington.org and ask to have the newsletter emailed to you. You will receive it at least a week ahead of the hard copy. Coming up are a whole bunch of activities to help you be festive or to help you completely ignore the season altogether. I'm very excited to announce that Secretary Elizabeth Chen will be joining us for our morning coffee hour on Tuesday, December 8th at 9 a.m. She would like to hear from you, how you've been surviving the pandemic, what your thoughts are, how you're feeling, and generally what's going on. I hope you will join us virtually or by phone. Call the main number, 781-270-1950 for the phone number to call in, or email coa@burlington.org for the information to join Secretary Chen virtually, or for any of our other activities. Actually, the same goes for all of our online activities as well. We also have Judith Kalora from History at Play joining us with Victorian Gossip Girl. Join Judith Kalora as the original Gossip Girl, Annie Adams Fields, as she spills the beans on her famous literary friends this holiday season, including the father of Christmas, Charles Dickens. Mrs. Fields has incredible influence on literary decisions at Ticknor and Fields Publishing House, the forerunner to Houghton Mifflin Harcourt Publishing Company, and a great ear for gossip. We also have Ann Barrett with Christmas Around the World, a whirlwind of Christmas and winter holiday history, traditions, and songs from around the world. Joy Marzoff of Joy of Nature will present the first of a travel series starting with Australia on a tour through the temperate rainforests of southern Queensland and the tropical rainforests of the Northeast. We'll enjoy views from above and then below as we also visit the home of Nemo and many other beautiful creatures found on the Great Barrier Reef. Dr. Mike Stair will present a webinar on being fit over 50 and how to get strong, lean, and fit at any age, no matter your injuries or conditions. We'll kick off Christmas itself with a virtual caroling party, and we'll have the words up on your computer or iPad screen. Bring your own eggnog, of course. And of course, we have online bingo at the beginning of the month. But to celebrate the season, we'll have scratch cards for prizes that we will mail out to the winners. To receive the weekly link to each week's activities, send an email to coa@burlington.org and ask to be put on the weekly email list. That's all for now. I'm Marge McDonald, and I hope you all have a season of peace, joy, and health.
Great, thank you so much, Marge. BNEWS weatherman Peter Brown has the latest forecast for the week ahead. We'll check that out along with the community calendar with Jolie Atwood to see what's happening in Burlington.
Well, hello everyone. This is Peter Brown with a look at your weather for the next 7 days. Well, here we are heading in towards the Thanksgiving time frame already, and actually only a few days left really of meteorological fall as winter is right around the corner. Now, starting out with a look at our almanac on Friday, we're actually going to have some fairly nice weather. Sunny skies out there, and temperature's going to be up near 60, so about 10 degrees above average, so really nice out there. And as we round out our period, looking at November 26th, that again is Thanksgiving Day. Temperatures at this time of the year are getting pretty chilly out there. Our average high should only be in the mid and upper 40s, but we're actually going to best that by about 7 to 8 degrees. So it looks like we're going to have a fairly nice, dry Thanksgiving. If you are going to see anybody nearby you, some very close relatives, looks like we're going to have temperatures in the 50s, so very pleasant out there. And of course, the days keep getting shorter and shorter as we head on towards winter. Now let's go ahead and take a look what the Climate Prediction Center is calling for us in terms of temperatures and precipitation for the next 7 days. And again, nothing really too shocking here. Looks like our temperatures in the Burlington area and most of the rest of southern New England are going to be at or slightly above average, and that's going to be reflected when we look at the 7 days in a few moments. And when we look at our chances of precipitation, the National Weather Service and the Climate Prediction Center is calling for a little bit above average precipitation. I don't really see that right now. Looks like it's going to be fairly dry, except for maybe the exception of Monday morning as a cold front passes by with some showers. So really nothing crazy out there. no heavy rain, and certainly doesn't look like we're going to be seeing any snowflakes, so that's good news. So let's go ahead and take a look at those 7 days of weather coming up again, starting out on Friday, and for our weekend, beautiful conditions out there for the middle to late November. Sunny skies, a couple of fair weather clouds, and temperatures well up into the 50s and into the lower 60s as we get into the weekend. Now, as we start our work week on Monday, again, a cold front's going to be approaching from the west and might bring us some showers to our area. Nothing really significant at all. The temperature's cooling way down to the low 50s, and then we have a chilly day on Tuesday, only going to be in the mid and upper 40s, but again, sunny skies, chilly as you're going out there in the morning. Again, nothing atypical for this time of the year. And as we head into the Wednesday and then the Thanksgiving time frame, looks like we have some nice temperatures coming our way. Temperatures in the low and mid 50s again. So a fairly nice stretch we have coming up for the next 7 to 10 days. And looks like Thanksgiving is going to be really nice as well. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, have a great week, and have a happy Thanksgiving to all of you.
Join us for a special Red Devil Classics Marathon, where we look back at some of the finest Turkey Day matchups between the Burlington Red Devils and the Lexington Minutemen. The action kicks off Thanksgiving Day on BCAT's Education Channel. On behalf of all of us at BCAT Sports, we wish you a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
Hi, I'm Jolie Atwood, and this is your community calendar. Get ready to hear a story. On Tuesday, November 24th at 10:30 a.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having a virtual story time for kids. The event will be held on the Burlington Public Library Facebook page. Learn how to make something in your spare time. A Whole Bunch of Flowers is offering a boxwood tree class. You can order your kit on their website or by phone, then watch the video anytime that is convenient for you after you pick up your kit. The full video can be found at the Whole Bunch of Flowers website at awholebunchflowermarket.com. It's the most wonderful time of the year. On Saturday, November 28th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., 3rd Avenue will be having an event called Holiday Happenings. There will be seasonal favorites at their wagon with fresh wreaths, mini Christmas trees, hot cocoa, and more. Everyone is welcome to attend the event. For more info, go to 3rd Avenue Facebook page. I'm Jolie Atwood, and that was your community calendar.
All right, another week, another photo to highlight. This week's photo is showing some love for BCAT. It was sent in by BCAT Board of Directors President Linda McNamee and shows a bottle cap project she completed featuring our logo. She says she's been collecting the bottle caps and putting this together for over 2 years, and it has an impressive attention to detail. Thanks for the photo, Linda. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of your fall activities, a family trip, or just everyday moments. Whatever you think is interesting and want to share. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. Finally, as we head into the holiday season, we'd like to see your lights displays. If you are decorating your home for the holidays, let us know and we'll come by and film them for a video compilation. Email us the details at bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Holiday Decorations. We'd like to thank you for joining us for this edition of BNEWS Weekly. Thank you so much for being here, and on behalf of all of us, have a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. For BCAT, I'm Sonia Rollins.